Fall. Thank you so much for this honor. My heart is just going a million miles an hour. There's so many people I need to thank about this. This was a huge, huge thing to undertake. I got the first kernel of this idea through my relationship with my sister, and I talked about it with her a lot. And I asked her if it'd be okay if I used some of her experiences and, hey, Leah, let's write a book. And she was all for it. And I was very afraid that I wouldn't finish it, because that just seemed daunting, to write an entire novel. I've often wondered how on earth people do that. And so I started by sending out email chapters to several people, one at a time, as I wrote them, imperfect as they were, to make myself accountable so that I could finish this. And I want to thank those early readers, my beautiful Aunt Judy, and I want you to stand up. She was my editor. She was my #1 cheerleader. She was the one that made me realize that I had something and to go for it. My Aunt Kim, another one of my read-along people. I had a lot of friends that were doing this for me. My friend Joy, let me say it right, Amalia. Okay, I'm going brain dead. There's just so many people I want to thank. My family, I have a wonderful family. They're crazy, literally. I love them. That's what made this book so special. It was my family, and I tried my hardest to make it real. My own mother suffers from a lot of mental illness, and she was one of my #1 cheerleaders as well. And I want to thank her for not taking any kind of offense. In fact, at one point I was told that I needed to make her character more real, because I was so afraid of offending my mom with the things that I wanted to put in the book, that one of the editors that was looking at it said, hey, you're pulling your punches here. You need to, this character has a lot of potential, and we need to go places with her. So I called my mom and said, Mom, I need to beef up the mother character. What can you give me? And she gave me all these crazy stories of things she did. And she was willing to share, and so I want to thank her for that, and I want to thank my wonderful father, who has been such a support to me and my sister and my mom in our lives, and I love him very much. And I want to thank my husband. And I want to thank everyone with ForeWord Magazine. Thank you for this honor. They told me it'd be worth my while to come. I questioned myself so many times as I was writing this, what my motives were. It was a lot of work. I have 4 daughters, ranging from 9 to 17 months, and they have a highly developed mommy radar tracking system. It seemed almost impossible sometimes to be alone enough to be able to write this. No matter where I'd hide, they'd find me. Sometimes I wrote amidst pounding on the door, dinner in the oven, spilled milk, and in the midst of endless Barbies and dirty laundry at my feet. And I never knew when inspiration would hit me, but I learned to run with it, literally. Sometimes I had to leap out of the shower to capture a thought. Sometimes I had to leave dirty dishes and run upstairs, wiping my hands off on my pants, chasing another inspiration. Somehow we all survived. My family put up with me for a while. And then I discovered that writing it had been the easy part. Getting it published proved more of an emotional ride as the rejection slips came rolling in. And then I'd wonder, why on earth was I putting myself through this? It was also hard to know if it was truly good. I cried while writing it, put my soul into it, but did that make my book worthy? Sure, my parents loved it, but you just never know about something like this. I suspected it was good. At times I believed it was very good. And I always knew that I was not writing it alone. My sister died when I was only halfway through writing it, and my book was about her life. So amidst writing about her life, I had to learn to cope with her death. But after her death, when I was able to pick it up again, writing suddenly became easier. I became more eloquent in my wording. I wrote things that stunned me. At those times, I knew she was standing over my shoulder, gently nudging along a novel that a stay-at-home mom with 4 kids had the audacity to believe she could write. I've had a lot of time to think about why I wrote it. I wrote it because I wanted people to truly understand something they only think they do. To them, schizophrenia is a scary word. It's a word people use in jokes. It means crazy or dangerous people. It means mental institutions and hearing voices. I wanted to change that perception and show what it truly means to a family having to cope with this heartbreaking disease. And I wanted people to realize we aren't so different. In my book, the character Uncle Theo says, "There's all kinds of crazy. Laura's just has a name and a medication for it. The rest of us just do the best we can." So I wrote about my wacky family, and I didn't pull any punches. I think I even hurt my own feelings a couple of times. The people around me that I grew up with formed the strands that knit this story together. Some people are given a calling in life, and my sister was one of those strong, amazing people. She was here to teach the rest of us. She was only here a short while, though, and she was painfully shy. At times she thought she had no friends. But there were more people at her funeral than I had ever seen at any funeral I'd ever been to. People were literally standing at the back and crowding into the halls. She touched so many lives without even realizing it, and I didn't want her short time here to go unnoticed by those who weren't fortunate enough to know her. And that's why I wrote this book, as a thank you to my wonderful sister, Leah Ann Harvey. Thank you again for this award.